Mm.
I practice my self-confidence daily.
Mm-hmm.
I practice my self-love daily and my self-care daily. I found my sexy, and I want to spread that light to other people, because I feel like if no matter how much weight you want to gain or lose, if you don't love yourself where you are right now and in this moment, you'll never be satisfied with what comes after that.
Yeah. Tonight on my show, I am happy to say that we have the Sun Queen Kelcey. She is a bald baddie bae. She's a musician. She's also in a band. She's a soul singing, sage burning, body butter making, thrifty and thready. And she's also a plus size baddie. And let's welcome her in. She's in here.
Hello, how are you? Okay.
I can hear you now.
Okay, cool,
Yes.
cool.
How
Look,
are
I heard the introduction. Thank you. That was a beautiful introduction.
Well, I got it from your page, and I was like, yes, I'm saying all of this, all of it.
Well, thank you. How are you, beautiful?
I'm doing wonderful. I can't complain. I can't complain. The protests kind of put me in a space where I haven't really been before. I don't think, and so coming out of that, I had to take some time, some mental breaks and things of that nature. But I feel like I'm in a better place, even though we still have a lot of work to do. How
Yeah.
have you been?
I've been okay. I've been back and forth between like being completely exhausted with everything that's going on, but then being overjoyed at how Black folks can mobilize and move mountains
Yes,
and make shit really happen out here.
yes,
Even with all the adversity that we face, every time we wake up and every time we step outside, we are still strong enough and vulnerable enough to connect with each other and to make things happen. And that makes me happy right there. So I feel very similar to you. I definitely learned to rest a lot more. A lot of people are out of work right now, but still, rest is still very important. Like, you may not be working every day, but sleep is good, introspection is good, laying on your bed in the sun sometimes is just so good for you. So I've been doing a lot of that.
that's wonderful. I've been seeing you've been out here doing the damn thing when it comes to the big girl world, and I'm like, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. I'm glad you are talking about it, and I'm glad you're giving the encouragement, the empowerment to our big, beautiful woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's very much needed. So tonight I'm going to ask you about 5 questions,
Okay.
5 things I want to discuss with you tonight. I love to build, learn, inspire, collaborate, and share keys with people in our community that are leaders, and that I know that some people, you have a following, and they would love to know, how do we follow in your shoes or make certain steps in order to maybe get to that level where you're at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Okay. So the
I'll
first,
try to answer these questions as best as I
yeah, girl, it's gonna be, I mean, authentic. It's gonna be organic, and we're really gonna chop it up and hash out some of these discussion topics. So the first thing I wanted to go over, me and you came up into this local music thing, like we grew up together, so to speak. And so I'm wondering how you were able to find your voice from beginning to end. And I want you to talk about, how did you find your authenticity?
can. I think everybody's story is very different. I feel like for me, I had to want it bad enough. I had to want to find my individuality bad enough. And then I also had to do it often. I'm the type of person, like, consistency is key for me.
Mm.
Um, if I feel like I want something, I put my mind to it and I consistently do it, whether I'm failing at it a little bit and then maybe catching on quickly or something like that. I still have to do it. So I feel like there really is no key to how I found my voice. It was more about what what resonated with me the most when it came to music and the people that I came across. And, when I write for myself. It may not resonate with everybody, but as long as it resonates for me, that's the most important thing. And I always kept that in mind. Like, if I'm doing this more for myself, then everything else will follow.
Yes.
So like consistency for me was everything. And then observing and learning and sitting back and talking less than I listened, and just trying to absorb all the information that I could get from other people and all that love and encouragement. And that kind of just helped me build who I am today.
Absolutely. I think that what I found is, especially when writing, because like you said, when you're writing, you're writing what's true to you or what speaks to you, And so when I have like issues when I'm about to sing a song and you're afraid of maybe it's not going to resonate with the people that are listening, I always, try to bring to the forefront that as long as it's true, as long as it's truth that you're saying from your own experiences, then that's something that you can hold on to whenever you're feeling that feeling. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Yeah, I know there were plenty of times where I wrote songs and I was scared to bring them out because I was like, this sounds corny, or, nobody will know what I'm talking about, or this is not going to attract any type of audience that I want, or this is too aggressive, so many things that I thought about my music at first.
Yeah.
But then I would just go for it. I'd try it. And however I felt afterwards would be the key to me, like, continuing to do it. There's one song that I wrote, I think it was back around the time that I wrote Thick Girls Do It Better. But I had this other song. It wasn't about plus size baddies, but it was something, I can't remember. It was probably a love song or some shit like that. But I performed it once, and I was already very hesitant to perform it because I was like, oh, this is weird. This is not really me, because I felt this way before, but I don't feel like this now. I performed it, and I didn't get any feedback on it. And I also didn't feel good after I finished it. And I was like, okay, so this is a song I probably should put to the side and keep it there until it sparks something in me, because right now it's not resonating with anybody. So yeah, I would definitely say that just going for it and doing it if it feels good to you is the best thing right there.
Absolutely. And then not everybody's going to like what you have to say either. I remember very beginning of my music journey here in Greensboro, the feedback was okay, you know what I mean? But then I would get some feedback that wasn't like super positive or anything of that nature. And then I had to say to myself, you know what? Not everybody's going to like you, because they haven't lived through my experience. So they wouldn't know exactly how to connect with me with certain songs or certain things that I play, or even how I sound. My sound, I feel like, is also an acquired taste as well, So I'm glad we talked about that. Definitely am. The next topic of discussion, I want to talk about collaboration. You are someone that I see that is consistent with collaborating with your band, or doing shows with different folks and things of that nature. I want to talk about and get your perspective on why collaboration is important.
I think collaborating is important simply because you can't do all of this on your own. I don't think any artist has made it by themselves. I think it's all about having a collective that is fully invested in your vision, and also allowing them to make their visions come true too. It's a lot of people out here that collaborate, but they want to take over the whole project. They don't want to listen to anybody else's perspective. But I feel like that's where the magic happens. It's like when you have an idea, somebody else has an idea, and it merges, and then all this beautiful shit comes out of it.
Right.
So I think collaboration is imperative for growth. I feel like if I never would have collaborated with these people, if I never would have calmed down and silenced my ego to be able to better hear their suggestions and their ideas, I never would have grown and evolved into the person that I am today.
Oh, that's absolutely true. And then hanging around all of these different energies, you must pick up a lot of different tools, different keys from them as well.
Child, yes. I have learned, I'm going to brag on my band real quick because
Go on.
working with this group of people, I have learned so much about playing guitar, about how to lead a band, how to organize a band, how to sit back and just, like I said, I think the most important thing is how to sit back and just listen and to silence my ego, to let somebody else, take the lead for a second. And this band that I work with, they are amazing. They're all very skilled and professional musicians, and they essentially want the same things that I want. And I feel like it's worked so well because we all have this vision that may not be exactly the same, but we all want to execute it the same way, and that is working with each other and using each other's skills to create something beautiful.
Absolutely. I love each of the members in your band. I think I know all of them. So there's Colin, and then Teresa, she plays the keys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then who's that last person that's in your band? Me and him.
There's more. There's Malcolm, who plays guitar. Darian plays bass, and Jamise plays drums.
Absolutely. Y'all sound great together.
Thank you. It's definitely a sound that I really appreciate and enjoy.
Yeah.
And it's not that I didn't appreciate it before. I think that right here, there's a group of personalities that really just works. It may not be forever, but I like to live in the moment and be present. And right now, I'm enjoying what we have.
Absolutely.
They the shit.
Yeah. I agree. I've had the opportunity to work with Colin and Teresa, and they always have great energy. They're so they're humble, and they like you said, they work together. They're willing to put in the vision, as a collective. Local influences. Let's talk about some of the people coming up that was just like, hey, I admire that person. You know what I mean? Who were some of those local influences for you?
Oh, that's a good one. You remember Layla Noor?
Yes.
Yeah, she was definitely a huge influence in the beginning. The people that I worked with when I was in the band Dalton Village, they were great influences for me too. Atiba Berkeley,
Yes.
Maddie Sheets. The ladies of the artist block, Lavinia, B-Rock. I got so many. I could go down the line of all these people that I've looked up to over the years that have touched me in a way, where they've left, they kind of left a little bit of sprinkled magic, a little bit of pixie dust with me that I've taken with me every day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's interesting when you shy away from having idols that are people that you'll never ever meet. I stopped idolizing celebrities, and I started to idolize people that are in close proximity to me, because I feel like that's more real. I can talk to you, I can ask you questions, I can actually look at you and know that you are human, and know that you also make mistakes and you've learned from them, and I see you grow in real time, rather than me just seeing what you look like after a whole media team has gotten a hold of you, or your whole stylist team has done something. So I like having people that I know are human and similar to me.
So I'm glad you said that, because I realized on that journey that I had stopped buying famous people's albums, and I started buying local people's albums. I mean, I got Maddie Sheets' album, I got Jameson Bay, I got Kathleen's album, I got you guys. Is like, it was more than just support, but it was just like, you guys are right here, you know what I mean? And it was very humbling to know that I can obviously pick up my phone and like invite you guys, or just hang out with these beautiful energies that that I have come across. So for me, some of my influences were, like you said, Layla Noor, most definitely. Fernanda, she was the reason why I started picking up the guitar again in the first place. Jameson Bethea, he's the GOAT. Like, I have never seen nothing like it. And he was just so quiet, but just could play the heck out of a guitar.
Out of any instrument.
Yeah, exactly. Tyrone Combs, man, when me and him linked up, it was just like
right.
It was like I always refer to him, and he's just like God sent, because he was, when I would tell him things about what I wanted or my vision, I would always be self-conscious when I told people stuff like that back in the day, but he would be like, yeah, let's do it. I was like, really? You like my idea?
Yes, that's him.
It really helped me to come out of that shell, being able to collaborate with him. But yeah, that's dope. I'm glad we got to geek out about some of these local artists in the community, because they have paved the way, and we're paving the way for the new generation as well. Let's see. Fourth topic. I can't read my writing. Normalize talking about failure. This is kind of why I built Bliss Talk, is so that we can literally talk about these things. We're not talking about it, I feel like, enough, that when you see that glossy photo or picture on Instagram, or that photograph that was taken by a professional photographer, nobody knows that you are going through it, honey. Like, you're going through it at home. So I wanted to kind of expand on that and explain why normalizing talking about failure, why we should do that.
I've always thought it was important, because I used to be ashamed of my failures, and I think that's something that a lot of people go through. A lot of people will use isolating somebody's failure to, in a sense, control their confidence, and I feel like that is something that we all need to stop doing, because it separates us from being human, and it separates us from connecting with each other. For us to hide the fact that, yeah, we may be successful at something, but you have no idea how many times we actually tried that shit and it didn't work. I think a lot of people think that you're supposed to get something right on the money, like your first time. But when you think about all the things that have been invented, or all the theories, the scientific theories that have been proven right, you never really think about how many times they tried it. And they really just essentially found a different way to not make it happen. But, with the light bulb, with the toaster, with people creating amps for us to play guitar through and things like that, all of those were just experiments, with just things that somebody tried and was like, okay, this way didn't work, so let's try a different way. And I feel like normalized talking about failure is more about how can we continue to connect to our community and to be whole, and to also hold each other accountable for the things that we've tried and we might have failed at, and then to also help each other realize, like, because some things just shouldn't be tried again. There are a lot of things that you tried so many times, and it's like, maybe that's just not the path you need to go down. Maybe you should just try something different. And so I think when you normalize talking about those failures, you can help people move on so they won't be stuck so much. Because I think a lot of times, like, getting stuck is what keeps us down too. It's like we think we're supposed to have something, we're supposed to be doing something, and a lot of times it's because we want what someone else has, rather than what we truly should have.
Right.
So all the times I failed at something, I kept trying until I knew that it was just time to move on.
Absolutely.
Music is one of those I failed at, but I wanted it so bad, and I knew that the way that it made me feel, I couldn't let it go.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, and then also talking about it and giving your testimony helps the next person to say, that person said that they failed a few times, so I'm gonna keep trying too. You never know who you'll touch by giving that testimony.
Right.
Make the struggle beautiful. Me and B-Rock had a conversation, and he was telling me about how much he went through moving down to Atlanta, because I I knew that would be a transition for him. And I was like thinking about what would I do if I just up and left, you know what I mean? And so I really empathized with him regarding, you know, his transition and shift to being in a new environment. And we were like, you know, it's all right, just as long as we make that struggle beautiful, as long as you put some hot sauce on that struggle, you know, make that rose grow from all that concrete and dirt, you know. But yeah, I'm glad we touched on that. Normalized talking about failure. My last topic of discussion with you, last but definitely not least, let's talk about big girl world. Let's go. One of the things that I wanted to say, and I wanted to be heard, is that if you have never been overweight, you cannot say a daggone thing about anybody else's weight, okay? Because you don't know the struggle. You don't. How could you possibly know? You've never had this problem. So please do not say anything about somebody being unhealthy, somebody looking a certain way, saying that they're not beautiful. You know what I mean? Because that person is poetry. Little do you know. Shout out to the queen that had that caption in one of my Bliss talks. She was like, I am poetry. And I was like, am I poetry? I was like, I sure enough am poetry. Because I mean, I've been through the ringer with my weight as well. And I had to learn to embrace it. You know what I mean? So to speak. And anyone who said differently to me, especially if they were tiny and never had this issue, it would just roll off my shoulders like they don't know what the hell they're talking about. How could they? Right. They have never been in my shoes. So it is what it is. So I want you to talk about it. Give us some words of empowerment in regards to that.
In regards to thick girl world or just being plus size?
Bigger world, plus size, all the above. Just go in.
Well, let's see, where do I start? So I started that podcast, which is really an IG live discussion for right now, just to give a safe space where plus size baddies could talk their shit, talk about all kinds of topics. Because a lot of people want to make it seem like they want to dehumanize people that are plus size. They want to make it seem like we experience things so differently than everybody else in the world. So, you know, as a singer-songwriter, I promote body positivity and radical self-love, but I also have to put the emphasis that I promote fat positivity. And so a lot of people ask me, like, what's the difference between body positivity and fat positivity? And in my opinion, body positivity was initially meant for all sizes, of course, including fat sizes, but then it got taken over by skinny folks that are promoting unhealthy lifestyles and restricted diets and things like that. And so fat positivity had to come in and say, we're going to reclaim this. We're going to take this back because people put such a negative connotation to what fat is. Fat is what it is. Everybody has it. It's neither positive and it's not negative. It's just a neutral term. It's a descriptive word. And I hate for people to use it to dehumanize people and to make it seem like because you're fat, you should deserve less. You aren't worthy of being loved. You aren't worthy of having beautiful clothing that you would see in straight sizes versus over here in the plus sizes. It's just all these things that come with being fat or being overweight per se, which, to be honest with you, overweight and obese, those are medical terms that I try not to use because somebody made that shit up.
Somebody made that shit up.
Yeah, like, to me, that's not even a real term. Like, obese is something that, you know, you could weigh 150 and be 5'2" and be considered obese. But when you see somebody that is 150 and 5'2", you're like, what are you talking about, obese? So those are terms that I just want to like eradicate altogether because they're not helpful. But I think that being a bigger person should not make it seem like you are less deserving or unworthy. You are a person. Being fat can be attractive. There are sexy fat people out here. There is plus size lingerie that can make you look bomb as fuck.
Come on, somebody.
Bigger people are very capable of doing anything that a smaller person is. All bodies are just so different, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being really young, and I would be, you know, I started to get like very self-conscious about myself at an early age.
Mm-hmm.
And I would complain to my dad, and he always called me beautiful. He always said, don't worry about those things. He even told me this story about when he was in the Army, he was doing basic training, and there was a bigger person that was in his same area that was running circles around people. Like, they were out here killing it, and all these skinny boys out here just dying out of breath, and this big person is over here doing push-ups, smacking these niggas up, you know, like just doing everything that they could. And I'm like, that's what it's about. I think people don't understand that all bodies hold and store and use nutrients differently. So even if we all ate the same diet, exercised all the time, drank the same amount of water, we would all still look very different and have different body types.
Yeah.
So from my experience, I've been overweight, I've been small, I've yo-yo dieted, I've done almost every diet under the book. In 2018, I was way smaller than what I am now. Now I'm like 240 pounds of bae. I'm fine. I know that I am, but I haven't felt this good about myself because I have gotten over the fact that I let the weight loss industry control the way that I thought about myself.
Mm-hmm.
I practice my self-confidence daily.
Mm-hmm.
I practice my self-love daily and my self-care daily. I found my sexy, and I want to spread that light to other people because I feel like no matter how much weight you want to gain or lose, if you don't love yourself where you are right now and in this moment, you'll never be satisfied with what comes after that, you know?
Yeah, too.
Yeah, so I just want people to stop judging people for being bigger, because there are so many other things that people need to be worried about than somebody's health, because size is not an indicator of health.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You can't see that, you know?
I had been practicing vegetarian. Well, I was a vegetarian, and I had went to a doctor, and they did blood work, and they told me, I can tell you're a vegetarian because we're not seeing anything concerning your cholesterol. All of my levels look good. You know what I mean? So but they was like, but you are overweight. And I was like, okay, so I'm healthy and I'm overweight. You know what I mean? So so I just wanted to share that with people so they can understand that, you know, I actually did blood work, and it came back that I had healthy levels in almost everything but my vitamin D, which everyone kind of has that deficiency. But also there was something else that I wanted to add. I had, you remember back when I had lost a whole lot of weight. I had lost like maybe 100 pounds or something like that. And I was trying to do exactly what I did to lose that weight before. I realized that it didn't work. I tried to do exactly what I did before, and it didn't work. I don't know if it's because I'm older or any of that nature, but I was killing myself working out. I mean, I was doing the insanity program and everything, and then my hip gave out. And so that was when I had to do a reflection, like, you want to get back to this weight so bad. What are you going to give up in order to do that? What are you going to lose trying to get back to that? I need my hip. You know what I mean? I need that hip. That hip can't go nowhere for another 30 to 40 years, okay? And so that was kind of something that I was going through, you know, realizing that I might not ever be able to get down to that size again. You know, that was a moment of like, what's it called? Coming to terms with, you know? And so, like you said, love yourself the way you are. And I also put that and connect that with the phrase that I came up with. When you have gratitude for where you are now, the frequency that you are on now, that allows you to accept the next frequency that you're going to go to. You know what I mean? So love yourself now. Love yourself now. So yeah, this is.
That's interesting that you talked about that too. because I was having this discussion about how we put ourselves through hell to look a certain way, to lose weight, to quote unquote get healthy. But I think that, you know, if your lifestyle change isn't sustainable, if you cannot just wake up and enjoy yourself, then it's not really a lifestyle change. It's more of a restriction. It's more of a diet. It's more of something that is not going to last long term. And that's one of the things that we talk about in the show Thick Girl World, is like, you have to learn to be comfortable with the fact that you're going to look different from other people. Like, what you see on the media is not you. You know, everything about you is beautiful. And I think that people should learn how to, well, first we should unlearn those harmful ways of how to treat ourselves. And then we should also get back to where we're not only accepting and tolerating the way that we look, but we're embracing and loving the way that we look and loving what our bodies can do. Like, think about before you even knew what being self-conscious was. Think about before you started to look down at your thighs, before you started to look at your weight and compare yourself to other children in your grades. Like, what was your body doing for you then? It was running, it was jumping, it was healing, it was moving, it was waking you up. It was making you have such a happy day, living your kid life and loving the way that you were, because in your head, life was not about how you looked. Life was about how you can enjoy it, how you can live it, and how you can find those things that please you, and how you can indulge and be kind to each other. And I feel like that's really what I want to get back to, is embracing everything about my body, rather than trying to force myself to be something different than what I am. Because, like, right now, like I said, I'm 240, I got rolls, I'm thick as hell, I got cellulite, and a bitch is loving it. Like, I am so much more happy because I've created my own happiness. And it's simply because I know what it felt like to be sad all the time and to be depressed. And I don't want to be like that anymore. I deserve to be happy, and so do you, you know? Absolutely. So just a little message to everybody.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to be completely transparent. You know, you know how we do photo shoots all the time and things of that nature. And I was like, man, I can't really do a photo shoot right now. It's not looking like all together, you know? And then I'm just like, I cannot live my life like this. I'm going to be at that photo shoot and I'm going to take these fucking pictures. Okay? Because I want to live right now. Life is happening right now. You know what I mean? And this is, I mean, documentation of everything I'm going through. And then also having those pictures for someone else to see my transitions, my growth. You know what I mean? You never know who you're going to touch. That woman, she sat up there, she took all those photos looking, looking her authentic self. So I want to do the same thing. Shout out to Lizzo.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
This has been awesome. That was the last topic. We did it. We Bliss talked 30 minutes inspiring conversation. You guys can follow me at cbliss_pics. I do this Bliss Talk thing at 7 p.m. every night. Follow me on YouTube as well. Make sure you subscribe on the YouTube channel. That's free. That's totally free. If you would like to support, that's hitting that button. I won't charge you a thing to do that. Also, I said blisstalkshow.life, and I talked about the YouTube channel. If you guys have any questions for the Sun Queen, please type them in there. And while they are typing in a question for you, Sun Queen Kelcey, please let them know where they can support you as well.
Oh, yes. Follow me at sunqueenkelcey.com. I also make my own body butters, hand sanitizer. I sell Blue Sage, stickers, buttons, t-shirts, all that on my website, sunqueenkelcey.com, which is sunqueenkelcey.com/shop. So you can go on over to my page on Instagram and click on the link that I have in my bio. And then you'll be able to shop with me or listen to my music and, you know, follow me on Apple Music and things like that. Just come give me love. That's all I want.
Absolutely. Anybody have any questions? No questions? All right. Well,
They're
this
like,
is
this girl said enough. Like,
great.
I
So
did a lot of talking today.
yes. Thank you so much for joining Bliss Talk today. This will be in my IGTV as well as YouTube in a few days. Oh, we got a question. Wait a minute. What do you do to center yourself?
Child, I rest. I may be an extroverted kind of person. Like, people think that I'm extroverted, but I'm really very introverted. So after spending time with a lot of people, I really just like to be in my room, and I like to lay down on my bed and just kind of melt into the bed, either reading or researching or eating, but really just resting is what helps me recenter myself and get back to me.
I love taking walks and listening to my music. It really centers me, especially if I'm listening to something that's like really uplifting and that song is calling me a queen. I'm like, that's right, I am. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
I take a walk and recenter myself. It fixes my crown, you know what I mean? And so that's definitely, I talked about this on one of my other Bliss talks. You know, sometimes turning on music is that same function as turning on your soul. You know what I mean? Like getting ready in the morning, I'm always listening to some music. I'm always blasting. My room is like, you sure be listening to that music? I'm like, I got to get my day started. It brings me back to center, and it gets me, that energy gets me going.
Right. Sometimes I just sit in silence. Like, don't get me wrong, I love music, but sometimes I just sit in silence with my thoughts and just like let them run wild. And I don't know, it's meditative to me.
Yeah.
To simply let my body be still, and then to let my thoughts just do what they want to do. I come to epiphanies like that. I have these great ideas just sitting in silence sometimes. And a lot of times when I have the music blasting, that's good too. It really just depends on how I'm feeling. Like,
how you want to
look, Toya said nap ministry. Yeah. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes. That's a guy on Bliss Talk. He's like the manifest king, so to speak. And he was talking about manifesting. He was talking about taking walks and how that's a form of meditation as well. And I was like, you know what? I do get that feeling after I take a walk. I'm back to where if I'm upset or my energy is off after I take a walk, I'm feeling a lot better. And then also I've done some meditation too. I don't do it as often as I should these days, but that does also help to kind of clear your mind. It's just sometimes I'm like, my attention span is just all over the place, and so I find it really hard to just sit still. But it did help me some when I was doing it as well. Random, but what are y'all watching on Netflix? What are we watching on Netflix?
Okay. All right. Let's be transparent real quick. So I finished like 10 shows on Netflix already since it's quarantine. Currently, I'm watching this shit called The Good Witch, and it's real. It's real white. It is real. It's pleasant. It's about this lady who is not necessarily like a practicing witch, but she has gifts, and she runs this shop in her little small town where she finds things that people need. It's like a shop where you can find herbs, you can find tea, you can find pots and pans, just everything. And I love that show, but what I really love is Bob's Burgers, which is not on Netflix anymore. It's on Adult Swim. But when I tell you Louise and Tina are me, come on. Come on. I love that show.
I binge watched that 70s show recently, and I never used to watch that show before, but I was like, I'm gonna click on it. And from beginning to end, that show will make you tear up. That shit'll make you laugh like crazy. It's such a good show. What else on Netflix? I'm not a big TV watcher. I don't find a lot of time to watch TV, but that's what I just got finished binge watching. But what are you watching on Netflix? We need some suggestions. The main curl. I think you ladies are beautiful and your confidence is shining. Oh, thank
Thank
you so
you.
much. Thank you. Well, this has been amazing. Um, like I said, this will be in my IGTV. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week and weekend. The weekend's right around the corner. And thank you so much, Kelcey. I don't see any more questions, so let's.
I love this. Thank you
Yeah,
for inviting me on here. I really appreciate it.
absolutely, absolutely. This was great. You take
Toya
care.
said shows about cooking. I'm gonna just
Oh,
mention that.
oh, that reminds me of RuPaul. He has this show on there too. I think it's like Drag Queen Race or something like that. I like watching that too. I love how he does like how they put stuff together, like how it comes out at the end. You know what I mean? I love
Yes.
seeing that transformation. So yeah.
Yeah, shows about cooking, they make me hungry. And then they also make me upset because I know I ain't never gonna try that
They
recipe.
make me hungry.
Yes, they make me so hungry. But I'm not about to go out and buy any ingredients that they're using in these recipes. But whatever. It is good to
Okay.
watch it because it looks good. It's very colorful.
Absolutely. I need to have a Bliss talk about that. How do people keep all of these groceries and they to make all these meals? Like,
Right?
it's impossible. That's a lot of money too. But anyway,
Exactly.
we could talk forever and ever. We got like a group chat going on right now.
I know, right?
At the end
So
this.
we'll keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for tuning into Bliss Talk. Y'all have a great
Thank
weekend.
you. Bye.
Bye.